Before we write in the ethics report, let's understand what are the ACM Code of Ethics and why is it important that we familiarize ourselves with the codes. Now, ACM stands for Association of Computing Machinery, and ACM is the world's largest educational and scientific computing society. Just like the medical professions have their AMA, Code of Ethics and Conduct, computing professionals too have obligations to follow certain ethical rules when using a computer or building a system using technology. Now, the ACM Code of Ethics is aimed at aspiring and practicing computing professionals and expresses the conscious or ethical duties and responsibilities of the profession, guides us to have a higher responsibility to the public good, and people developing internet platforms and AI technologies in particular have a higher responsibilities, as the uncertainty of the methods and applications of machine learning could lead to public distrust of such technologies, especially as they are integrated in our everyday infrastructure. The code is designed to inspire and guide the ethical conduct of all computing professionals, including current and aspiring practitioners, instructors like us, students like you, internet influencers, and anyone who uses computing technology. The Code of Ethics are divided into 4 sections, and the first section comprises of general ethical principles, which states that a computing professional should contribute to human well-being, acknowledging that all people are stakeholders in computing, avoiding harm to others, being honest and trustworthy, being fair, and take action against discrimination. Respecting the work required to produce new ideas and inventions, and these principles provides the foundation of ethical conduct. However, in today's world, though these directive principles or measures are there, but these rules are violated on a daily basis. So let's talk about the clause respecting the privacy of others. We have heard the Chinese government created a mass surveillance system called Skynet. The network included over 20 million cameras, and China monitors its citizens through the internet and through other digital technologies. So collection of data and breaching privacy has become increasingly widespread in today's world. Let's talk about Facebook. Facebook applications and games are not as innocent as you may think they are. Facebook allows its third-party apps to collect data about your internet use and even your personal information. Let's talk about Google, our favorite Google. It is alleged that Google secretly tracks consumers on the web and sells the information in auctions for advertisements. Google allegedly collects sensitive personal data through its products such as Google.com, the Chrome browser, Gmail, Google Maps, among others, and especially YouTube. So in the real digital world, nothing is 100% private. One of our favorite type of apps are video games, right? Let's see how this correlates to the clause building system that doesn't cause harm to others. Games, as we all know and we love, are for amusement. But today's games which are easily accessible, the digital games, can cause mental and financial harm by way of addiction, overspending, and psychological manipulation. As you search Google, you can come up with numerous case studies supporting this point. Now, what it means to be honest and trustworthy by ACM Code rulebook. For companies, for developers, because you can always make deliberate false claims, fabricating and falsifying data. And if they do, which they do, they are all in violations of the code. Let's relate a real life scenario concerning this code. In the early 1970s, three BART engineers became alarmed by the deficiencies in the designs of the electronic software for the automatic train control system. Deficiencies that could be endangering passengers on BART trains. The engineers raised their concerns within the BART organization without any success. So finally, they reported the concern to Bay Area newspapers. The three engineers were immediately fired for disloyalty. They were never reinstated, even when an accident proved their concerns to be valid. So the reality, it is true. In today's world, there are many companies, we read in the news, and many companies and many institutions have paid heavy compensations. Like Facebook paid $5 billion for breaching privacy rights. But it is also very valid to say that ACM codes are breached at a regular basis, and many companies have been able to operate in a very relatively gray area. However, in recent times, the awareness about tech power has increased, and there's now a demand for governments to regulate the tech companies more heavily. Their devices, their systems, and their platforms.
Section 2 of the ACM Code, Professional Responsibilities, explores the responsibilities of computing professionals related to the work that they do. Examples of these responsibilities are striving to achieve higher quality, knowing and respecting existing rules pertaining to professional work. Professionals should accept and provide appropriate constructive peer reviews. And they should also foster public awareness, have an understanding of computing related to technologies and their consequences. Professionals should aspire to design and implement systems that are robustly and usably secure. Section 3 of the ACM Code comprises of professional leadership standards. These principles guide individuals who have a leadership role in the organization. Examples of the principles mentioned in this section ensures that the public good is the central concern during all professional computing work. Leadership is expected to manage resources to enhance the quality of working life of the employees and creating opportunities for members of the organization. Leadership should always enable their reporting group to grow as professionals, and most importantly, recognizing as well as taking special care of the systems that become integrated into the infrastructure of the society. Section 4 is a pledge to act in compliance with the codes, which ensures commitment to the association's values and principles, by stating that a computing professional should uphold, promote, and respect these principles and treat any violations of the code as inconsistent with their membership in the Association of Computing Machinery, or ACM. Now that we have an overview of the 4 section, we will go over some hypothetical cases and a factual real-life case to understand the situational computing environment, as well as get an insight about the way the violation of the codes unfold. Joe is working on a project for his CIS course. The professor has allotted a fixed amount of computer time for this project. Joe has run out of time, but he has not yet finished his project. Last year, Joe worked as an employee at a campus computer center and is quite familiar with techniques to increase time allocations to accounts. Using what he learned last year, he is able to hack into and access the master account, allotting himself additional time to complete the project. Joe is in violation of ACM Code 1.5, Honor Property Rights. He is in violation of Code 2.8, which specifies the ACM members should access communication resources only when authorized to do so. Joe is also violating the Code 2.3, to know and respect the existing laws. A client explains to an employment agency that when displaying the qualified candidates' names matching the job requirements, only the male applicants are to be displayed ahead of female applicants. It's a hypothetical case. In this case, the system designer is being asked to build a system that will be used to favor males and discriminate against females. It is expected that the system designer should question the problematic nature of the demand and ask the client why this is being requested. But to go ahead and build the system would be a violation of ACM Codes 1.4 Fairness, 2.3 Respecting Existing Laws, and would be inconsistent with 1.1 Human Well-being and 1.2 Avoiding Harm to Others. This is a real case and not a hypothetical case. Anthony Lewandowski, an early pioneer in the self-driving or AV car industry, left Waymo Google, but before he left Google, he downloaded the patented Waymo self-driving car files from the company network. Then Anthony started his own company called Otto, which was quickly acquired by Uber in 2016. The Otto acquisition by Uber led to a trade secrets theft lawsuit filed by Google Waymo against Uber's AV sector. Now, what are the ACM codes that were violated? Oh, there are so many. Lewandowski failed to be honest and trustworthy, did not respect property rights and copyrights, failed at honoring confidentiality and contracts. He used unauthorized access to illegally download the files, and most importantly, he failed to uphold the principles of the ACM codes. So, what were the consequences? Uber settled a lawsuit with Google to avoid a potential embarrassment and promised to pay Google approximately $179 million. Uber also paid Lewandowski $2 million. And Lewandowski's 18-month prison time was pardoned, and today he is the CEO of Pronto AI. So therefore, we can say we operate in a very, very, very grey area. However, we should always be aware of these ACM codes since they are there to guide us towards a holistic and mindful direction. Big tech companies are also seeing the potential for appealing to a more ethically minded market and government that cares about their privacy, their security, their data, and is becoming more and more vocal about their needs rather than accepting the latest technology thrusted upon them.